Alright boys, quick video on Opendoor. We're going to do some technical analysis, where it might be heading. I was going to talk about a trade that I took on Thursday, why I took it, how I even set it up, how I figured it out. And we'll discuss everything in this video. So if you like this type of content, sub and hit the like button. Let's get into it, starting off with mapping out our key levels. So our first key level is going to be this $6 mark. The next one is going to be where we saw multiple bounces, which is that $7 level. Also, we have our high over here, which is 1072. And we could also add in that $4 level before we got this breakout over here. And that should be enough for now to know where our support and resistance levels are gonna be at. Another thing you could also map out as you're preparing for a trade is where the trend line is. As you guys can see, we were following this trend line. However, we had a break of structure over here. And now we're starting to see a new trend, which is this right here. So what I'm gonna do is actually remove this because this is not validated anymore. We don't really need it. This is currently what we're looking at. So now let's talk about the trade, why I went into it, which was on Wednesday. Actually, Wednesday I didn't enter, I entered on Thursday, but Wednesday is when I noticed that the stock was preparing for a breakout soon. First thing I want to note is the gap over here. Always expected to get filled, always a high probability that's going to come back and fill that. And that's what we saw over here. Stock price jumped up and then we basically consolidated, downtrended until we finally filled that gap. This is a hammer candle over here, meaning that bulls stepped in, they bought up the wick, and now we have a potential reversal. So we're basically at the end of this breakout over here. We have a hammer candle, the gap's been filled. Now, when do we enter? Now that leads us to Thursday, which we got a close above that $7 mark, which was enough for me to enter a position. This is where I decided to enter the stock because we had 3 confirmations, one being the gap fill, the hammer candle, and us being at a breakout point with the overall trend going upwards, meaning that there's a high probability that the stock was going to shoot up. Now, the way I play this is setting a stop loss around that 680 level. And the reason why you want a stop loss is because you don't want to end up bag holding. If the stock price came down, we could have traded sideways and it potentially even went lower. Next thing you know, a week goes by, a month, 2 months, now you're bag holding, wasted time, wasted money. Don't want that. Set a stop loss, get out, and then re-enter when you see a new opportunity. Basically, Friday morning, as the stock went up, the limit brought it up, break even, brought it up, profit, brought it up. As price went up, basically like a ladder formation. Eventually, I got stopped out, but I got profit out of it. So I was able to get out 2K, which I will show over here. And that was pretty much the play on that end. So that's how I found this. You set up the chart, do some charting, you look for opportunities, and then you figure out how you're gonna play it. Now, what do we expect going to next week or possibly the week after? Potential retest on this 950 level, 960. And if we get past this 960 level, we'll be retesting the previous high of 1072, which then will lead to a huge breakout. Like going into next week, if we don't close above $8, price could come back down, retest the breakout, or even break lower. So wait for confirmation, look for a close above that $8 level to make a play for the upside. So that's pretty much it for open. We'll see how it goes going to next week. And if we do get a nice break, expect that 961 followed by the 1072. So good luck.